And good afternoon, everybody. I think we are open for business. What's the time? 12:31. Let me just see what that little list of. There's people coming in, ready to rock and roll. Hold on, here we go. There we go. And over the next few minutes, more and more people will land. We are going to, just for everybody's awareness, we are going to record. So we will hit the record button to take care of this. So again, if you are logging in the future sometime, hello, future people. It's good to see you live and in the future. So we are here for a nice little chat. G'day, Mike. A nice little chat this afternoon to begin our 2026 series. You know, the WA Innovation Calendar, we're really excited about where WA Innovation is, where you guys are at, and obviously where, you know, the rest of Australia is going with this innovation, but, you know, we're in WA. The events and the programs and the funds that are available around WA are getting bigger and stronger, which is great. In the midst of all of that, what we also are trying to do, and we've taken your feedback and we're looking at the ways that we can help the community as much as possible, is try to figure out you know, the content that basically you as individuals might need. And that's really hard because everyone's so different. And so we're looking at ways to do that. But one of the ways we thought we might be able to help with that is to basically put on a series of presentations like this over the year, where we have the topic experts come in and talk deep about the issue and its meaningful impact on your business. So the brutally honest commentary is really important because they're great presentations and loads of stuff going on all around the place. But sometimes there may be a little bit of shine to it, which is great. You're supposed to be shine to some of the stories and presentations. But we also want to be really careful and make sure that you as the business owners, the startups, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, whatever title you want to give yourselves, you're also getting some of that brutally honest, tough love sort of commentary when you know, at the right times. And so I'll kick off that part, and as you've seen by the title of the presentation, I potentially have some very brutally honest experiences, no named experiences that I'm very happy to share, but also because we want you as the startups, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, to try not to make mistakes that are avoidable. Now, on the journey of your innovation journey, it is hard. It's not going to make it easy, but hopefully it can make it a little bit easier by avoiding some of the things that if you had been pre-warned, you wouldn't do as well, or you would do less of. So it's to try to throw you some of those experiences and learnings to help you make some better decisions, because your innovation journeys are all about the decisions you make every day. And so as you are progressing on your innovation journey, from the very, very beginning to all the way close to the end, you make daily, instant, you know, moment by moment decisions often, because there's so many things you have to do. And because of those so many things you have to do, sometimes you're going to basically pull the trigger on a decision that maybe, you know, it's going to lead you slightly, you know, in a pathway that could have been avoided. So we're going to try to help you make decisions that are better. And by taking advantage of the experiences of others around you and those that have been before you, we can help you do that. And so, you know, that's what we see as success in an innovator, in those that make better decisions at the right time. And so we'll try to share some of that with you. So I will hit you with the facts of life in some scenarios. Hopefully I don't upset you or scare you too much with those experiences or those thoughts. What we'll run, if we can run the chat. So where's the chat? My little chat button's here somewhere. I've lost it. There's a chat button there somewhere down the bottom. So bottom right is the chat button. I'm going to say hello. Hello. If you have questions, best going in there. I'll see if I can keep an eye on them and get to them as we go. But we'll try our best to basically keep on track with what you want. And where we're going to go with it. So someone throw in a chat response for me to make sure it's working. That would be great. Thank you. So it's wrong button, that button. There we go. So startup decisions not to not repeat. So we want to make good decisions. We want to make some decisions that we want to go in the right pathway. So I've got a long list. This is probably 10% of the list of the things that we know, we've seen, we've worked on. The list is really to keep me on track so that we touch off on more than one or two of my rants and keep it focused. Just so those of you that are new to the WA Innovation Calendar, or you feel like some of the stuff that we've done in the past, I'm Steve. Evolve is, if you like, the R&D tax business. The WA Innovation Calendar is the community collaborative location where we share as much as we possibly can. It's not funded by anybody other than ourselves. Love some sponsors. Anybody wants to sponsor it, we're up for help. We don't have. We've had very, very small amounts of government support so far, for whatever reasons, and currently we are fully self-funded. So we are very happy if somebody wants to help us out and support us with a couple of those sponsorships. The list that we have, like I said, is the starting point. These are to give us some of those conversations and work on that. I haven't actually seen anything come through the chat. Is there anybody? Have I got my chat wrong? Let's just make sure that that's a. There we go. There's one. Thank you, Team Evolve. So you're obviously it's a startup title to the whole series and the whole topic, but startup means different things to different people. Like I said, innovator, entrepreneur, business owner, all those things. The idea in innovation is what sort of business you are. Often doesn't matter. The startup scenario, g'day Justin. The startup scenario is what we or the world has called a fast-growing early stage business. So let's get that very clear from the very beginning. If you want to be a startup, which is cool, and most of you on here probably are, or you're aspiring to be startups, it's a business. It's fun. Hopefully you're doing it because it's fun and it's going to be a great experience and a journey for you. But you can't hide behind the story of it. It's a startup. What I mean by that, again, everything I'm saying is because we've done this. I've done this for 25 years, and I've seen every version of person, style, project, technology, startup, entrepreneur you can imagine. And a number of people will go and start off as a startup and get down the track for several years, and then go, oh now I've got to make I'm like a director. Oh, I've got to do these business things. And I said, well, yeah, you've always had to. When you start your startup, you have responsibilities. If you start a startup as a company, you are a director. You have director's responsibilities. You have to submit things. Oh, have you got your hand up or are you just waving, Justin? You have to submit things to regulators, and you have responsibilities to contractors and staff and bills. And I know you know that, but some of you forget that or get caught up in particularly in the beginning. And I'll do this startup. Even if you start a startup as a side hustle, it's a business, and it needs your responsible attention as a director and a business owner. So you can't take your eye off that ball. And what does it mean to be a business? It means it's hard. We can't get away from how hard it is to run a business and be a business owner. But I'm also going to be a little bit controversial. And there's stuff that goes around, if you like, the ecosystems, the communities, wherever we are, Perth, Australia, the world, doesn't matter. If we expect, as business owners, that the community will make the journey easier for us, then we aren't understanding what it is to be a business owner and a startup. So, and the examples are along the lines of, well, I want to sell, and this is one that we hear a lot, I want to sell to government. I want to sell my product to mining companies. And and therefore it's their problem that they're not buying my product. How are we going to fix government? How are we going to fix mining companies or whoever at the corporate end to buy my product? It's not fair. Someone needs to fix that. It's true. It's not fair. It's hard. It's all these things. That's the market. If we get into that market and then we start complaining about how hard it is, you've missed the point of having a business and trying to sell. And if your target customers are government, procurements and mining companies and these sorts of things, out of the gate, you have to accept and know that that's hard. Now, if you want to fix it as a community-led idea, fantastic. But we have to make sure we understand the difference between that and what our markets are and what our clients are going to be and how they're going to buy it. So when we see a lot of the commentary that goes around that says, oh, don't worry, we're going to fix that as a community and it'll be better, that's cool, but it's not right now. And if you're trying to sell right now, it's hard. And also, and there's a lot of these sorts of things sort of go around in groups, whether it's in your own company or in the community. One of the great things about having a community is you have a community to hang out together. So one of the things that I have found that helps a company, a startup or an innovator to be successful is they've got their peer group. They've got their friends and their networks that they can talk to about how hard it is to be a startup and how hard your business is. And so we know that. So as you become a larger business owner, there are organizations and groups that you join and you come together as business owners and you share those and you help each other out. Exactly the same as a startup. Who are the people that you hang out with? The 6, 12 people that are sort of around you. You might be your best friends, but there's someone that is in and around that. And you can sort of say, it's really hard. You can learn from and share with. But again, if we then go back to the community and say, hey, give us answers to make this less hard, well, we're missing the point a little bit again. Why are we building a business? What is a startup is a small business that's trying to become a business. A startup has more challenges than a regular small business because you're building a technology and something new and innovative. So there's a change element that makes it harder than a regular small business. But that is the way it's going to be. The hours that you have to work are excessive. The mental drain on yourself, on us as the founders of the startup is excessive. When you start it, you may not quite get that. You get into it, you might go, this is pretty hard, and let's just accept that it's hard. You need your friends around you to talk to and explain that to, and work your way through that. We are looking to make sure that you're all, eyes wide open about the whole journey. It doesn't get easier as well. This is hard. This is not fun, is it? It doesn't get easier. Now, it might do eventually at some stage, but it's like when your kids grow, as you're growing up, you just get more challenges as they get older. You solve that problem and you work into a next exciting stage of your child's life. That's what your business is. You deal with that, and now you're at this size and you've got different issues to deal with. Now you're at this size and your team gets bigger, so you can share those responsibilities. But you'll have another responsibility to take care of that replaces that one. So yes, the things will hopefully change. And if you're in the same space in 3 years as you are now, your startup's probably not succeeding. It's probably flatlined and or going backwards. Again, hard truth, but in some circumstances, if you're in the same scenario for multiple years, you need to reassess, are we going to grow? And I'll talk about a couple of those issues later. But we've got to understand that, and then the people we have around us, and the way we build our business. So the structure, the mentors, the boards that we choose. Out of the gate, for all these things, and you've heard it before, but it is correct and it is true. Get advice from people that know what they're doing, not your mate, not Professor X from University Y, somebody that's lived it, done it, is qualified to give you that advice for real. So, easier said than done, but make sure that's correct. Bounce that suggestion potentially off of your cohort of friends. Say, hey, I've just been told to set up this structure. What do you guys got? Now, you're double checking, you're making sure that those key decisions are right. And when, if we talk about structuring and the mistakes that people make in the growth, it's either they don't get any structuring advice and they just go to Google and go, great, what's a good corporate structure look like for a startup that wants to get investors? Oh, it looks like this. I'll go and set that up. No, you don't do that. Do your research, figure out what the options are potentially, but then go and talk to people that actually get paid to do this. And yes, you have to pay people to do some of these things for you. Again, the startup, I have no money, I'm a startup, that only goes so far. You can get help. People will talk to you for free. But at some point, you've got to actually pay for actual, not just your tech advice, but your other areas advice. So it's quite funny. We see lots and lots of businesses, the majority of startups, will pay a lot of money appropriately for building that product. Then they pay nothing or next to nothing on all the other things that the business needs. So, you know, if your budget is 99% tech and I'll figure out the self myself, or I'll get some freebie to do it and I'll Google it, that's not a business. That's not a startup. That's a hobby. It's not real. Now, yes, you have to manage your budget and you don't want to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on HR policies when you haven't got staff. But you've got to get that balance right. And, you know, I keep saying, you can't come back to the excuse of I'm a startup, I have no money. That's what every startup has. The good ones work their way through that decision process and figure out how to get that budget right and where to get that money from. So overcomplicating structures and getting them wrong out of the gate, straight out, you know, pause, stop. If someone says, hey, you've got to have 3 entities, you've got to have an IP one and a commercialization one and an R&D one and this one, you go, really? Can't we just have one? And so how many times we pick up that and you go, okay, cool. Has that helped you? Maybe in 3 years' time, it'd be cool to have 3 or 4 corporate entities, but why do you need one now? So, you know, don't just keep spinning off entities because, again, and this is something, this can be your accountants or your lawyers or your someone on your board might say, hey, we need this because we had that in this other company idea and it worked really well. Yeah, is that company and that example and that reason right for you right now? So managing that decision process. And so how you structure your business will blow up so many issues and cause you more problems if you don't pause and get that done properly. And just crazily adding to your structure. Then your mentors and your boards. I heard this quote years ago, which is really, really good. Actually really, really applies, and it's going to come up a bit later in the list as well. If your mentor, so a lot of people talk about, I'll be your mentor and I help you out. That's great. Awesome. If the mentor then says, you know, can I have a little bit of equity, or can you know, how can we help? Because you know, you haven't got any money, so that's not a mentor anymore. It's an advisor. And so if someone's going to mentor you, they're doing it because they want to help you out. And if they move from being a mentor to an advisor or a board member or something, they're not a mentor anymore. You can't have 2 hats. You cannot be a mentor and be part of the company. You conflict straight out of the gate. It's a really interesting. So, you know, advisors, coaches, at boards, all those things, great. They're not mentors. Let's just make that super clear. And we'll see that you're getting very mixed. So that's cool. But then those advisors, those boards, those sorts of people, you get that balance right. How many times do you see a list? The startup's got this big long list of their advisory team. You might have spoken to that person once in 6 years. You go, why put them on your list? Actually, it doesn't help. Because if an investor or someone's going to go, oh, I'll just phone them, and they go, no, I'm phoning them for 6 months. So if you have advisors and supporters and board members, and let's talk about board in a second, make sure they're the right person for the right fit. And the right person for the right fit means where you are right now. So I love that, you know, coaches and those sorts of things are very important. And boards are effectively like a corporate coach. And advisory boards and these sorts of titles you can give it. If you're a tennis player, you have a coach at a certain age and a certain skill set, and then as you progress, you're probably getting a different coach and a different team around you, and you become whoever, and you've got that sort of coach. You have the same one normally. It's the same with your board, your advisory team, your supporters, your team. they fit with the skills that you need now. You can't have an elite athlete training coach when you're an under 10 tennis player. So you'll see that a lot. You'll see, hey, cool, startup out of the gate, and they've got some superstar, West Farmers ex-CEO or something. That's really cool. They can't add any value to you as a startup because they've never seen a startup. They've been involved in a startup. They know what involves. They help you sell when you're ready to sell it to West Farmers. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a long, long, long way away, unless you're already at that cusp, which is never going to happen. So, horses for courses. And then as you grow, that startup advisor and supporter that is a legend isn't going to be right for you when you're starting to get, more advanced and growing up. They go, cool, my skill set's here. Next, I'll pass you off to the next mentor, advisor, supporter you need. And overloading things like boards when you don't need a board. So don't bring in a board too early, get all excited and go, cool, I get my board ready to go. And you go, no, that's 3 years away. One of the decision issues that we see that people get wrong is they're either not appropriately prepared, they're not appropriately prepared for the decision that's only a few months away, as in fundraising or marketing or whatever that might be. So they haven't prepared for that. But what they've done is prepare for when they're going to IPO in 4 years' time. No, what about we do this bit? Get ready for this bit now. Again, this sounds obvious, but we see it all the time. Yeah, cool. I'm going to put my IPO team together. Yeah, you've got to do a few things first. You've got resources to spend here and that sort of stuff. So, cart before the horse. The IPO's examples are Ripple one. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, thankfully, because of the changing the investor landscape and those sorts of things. But the investor landscape is exactly the same, actually. So you can cut and paste IPO with other investment option. People are coming out of the gate. I've been going for X months or years, and I'm talking to, I'm ready for my $20 million fundraise. You're ready for a $2 million one or a $500,000 one? You're not ready for a $20 million one. So why are we putting all this energy into that size business when you still haven't done this one? So prioritization of the steps you need to take. You can't jump a step. The innovation pathway from day one to day, happy times, super successful, Google. You don't go from here to there. You go through a whole bunch of very, very fixed, locked experience steps. You are not different. How many times I've spoken to someone saying, I'm going to make this and we're going to go straight to here. Doesn't happen. Might need a million might do that for whatever random reason, but they haven't done that. They've had other things that you haven't seen. Those steps, everyone's seen the valley of death. You can't jump the valley of death. It's not possible. You can't go from day 2 to day 2000 and skip all those hard bits in the middle because I'm just going to raise here and my product's actually going to be the only one that's ever gone from this to that. No. So, hard truth, your product does not jump the valley of death. You have to go down before you go up. There's fundamental cash flow issues that stop you from ever going straight across the top. So you have to go. And if you don't know what the valley of death is, you need to go and search that out. So a lot of startups make the mistake actually not researching what it is to be a small business or a startup. The volumes of quality books out there are endless. And this isn't something new. It's only been going for a couple of years. This is 20, 30, 40 years worth of actual really high quality experiences are out there in the real world to tell you what it actually involves to be a startup. And yeah, it's great to log into seminars and go to webinars and be here and that sort of stuff. But if you want to go down this journey, how much research have you done in those really good existing books? And we can throw up a list of the top 4 or 5 that you should have read, so that you know what. Because again, this is experience. These are things that you can read and then be forewarned about before you go. So if we throw you up half a dozen, we'll do that afterwards. I'll remember to do that. We've done it before, and we did it at the Christmas mail out. There was a list of suggested reading material. That's not that's almost like a go no go list. Because if you haven't read half of those things, you're going blind. You're running blind. There's some stuff in there that it's super obvious, but will really make your world just a whole lot easier. Where are we going for time? Decisions around how you run your accounting and compliance things. Boring, I know. Steve's an accountant. I'm not really, but we're just going to talk about that again. Well, because it's not that hard to put the right processes and procedures in place to do your accounting, your books. Yes, it's a pain in the ass. Yes, you can sort of get away with, well, you can't get away with anything. You can sort of, yeah, that'll do, I'll fix it later. I know you've got a lot to do. We all have a lot to do. We have to spend a bazillion hours every day doing our job. If you shortcut on your bookkeeping and your compliance, as in lodging your ASIC report, updating ASIC when you get a new shareholder in, not getting your VAS done on time because you've got too many more important things, and bloody ATO, who cares? They don't love me anyway. Well, no, that's your responsibilities as a director. But it also blows up in your face because suddenly something happens and you're not ready for it, as in investors, client opportunities or whatever, and you go, oh, I've got to get my accounts done. Oh, you can do some training. Again, a lot of this stuff is available online to get your skill sets up a little bit. You can spend a little bit of money on a qualified, experienced, quality bookkeeper to keep this under control for you. Your accountants can help you get yourself organised on time and on budget and everything else. I'm talking about spending millions of dollars. Talking about giving this the same level of responsibility and focus as you do to your technical development. This is equally as important. There's nothing in your business build, getting the time frame right. So getting ready for the IPO isn't important. It will be when you're ready down there. But right now, make sure your bookkeeping's up to date. You know, I know it just sounds really lame. I don't know. We don't actually have that many clients to get themselves organised. They want their IRA tax done really quickly and really efficiently. And you go, well, we could if your accounts were up to speed a little bit more. Now, some of you, I'm sure the people that have logged in here that are part of our family, you're perfect. But you can't underestimate that in so many ways. So, and the payroll one, which is bloody hard. You start to add team members, real team members. What's a contractor? What's a consultant? What's a staff member? What's a salary? What's a super? That is hard. You completely get it. We're not perfect. We have to spend too much time doing these things as well. But you've got to do it. You've got to do it properly if you can from the get-go. You know, there are plenty of really good people out there that can do this for you. You've got to, one of the things we do wrong when we're growing, we get our budgets wrong. We go, okay, cool, it's going to cost me more to do my marketing. Well, if you're suddenly putting on 4 staff members, you're going to have recruitment costs of some sort. You're going to have onboarding time costs. You're going to have payroll setup costs and all that. So your budgets of time as well as money. So your budget for your time is just as important as the budget for your money. Needs to take that into consideration. And again, you can't come back and say, oh, I didn't realise. Well, yeah, you didn't realise, but you could have. There's nothing on this list here that you couldn't have otherwise known. Well, you've got the list now. So it is just, I had to try hard not to make that dot point number 1, as you can see. Following on from that, bank accounts. I know it's going to be confusing. Banks are a pain in the ass. We know that. But your company is its own beast. It is separate to you, whoever you are as a founder. You can't mix up your bank accounts. Oh, I'll just pay from this account. I'll do that and do that. You can't do that. You can, but it's not good for so many reasons. The company has a bank account, and as we know, it takes ages to set up a company's bank account. So you've got to allow time for that. And yeah, we get frustrated. It's simple. It is simple. It can catch you out if you take a shortcut at some point. Again, occasionally you're going to accidentally pay for the wrong car, that sort of stuff. But actually get it clean and clear. You're loaning money into the company. It's a loan. Treat it like a loan. Have a loan agreement. Do those things that, again, will make it a real company. The company is not you. You might be the founder of the company, and your mates are founders of the company, but you are not the company. It's its own thing. It's its own person. It needs an agreement with you, even though you are you and you own the company, you are separate. So you need actual agreement between the two of you. Is it a loan? Is it equity? No, we'll figure it out later. No, you can't figure it out later. You need to make that you've given the company money. Was it a loan or was it equity? You've got to get that clear. And all versions of accepting capital accessing capital. So suddenly an investor will come along and say, cool, I'll give you this. Let's call it convertible note. Let's call it a safe note. Let's do this, do that. You go, no worries. No, yes worries. What does it mean? How does it mean? What are the terms? How, why, what? Documentation, agreements, sign-offs. Boring, takes time, slows you down, but it's more important than something else because it's right now and it has to be done properly. Because when the AGO or another investor or somebody knocks on the door and says, I'm ready to help you out, or go there, they go, just show me all your documents in place for that, how you got to there. You go, we got halfway. We were really busy. We're a startup. We've got 1,000 things to do, and we just didn't finish that off. Doesn't cut it. In that future you will hate current you if you've taken that attitude, because it will call future you. You will be like, I should have done that properly. Yes, you should. Pause, wait, get it done. The next one of these webinars, we've got Super Gun, Super Rockstar coming back to drop the value bombs on you, Mike, is coming back to basically double down on some of these concepts about the theories of capital raising and actually, shooting some of those myths down for you and reminding you of the facts of life. Doing everything properly. R&D tax. Now, I could obviously talk about this forever. There it goes. In this context, so R&D tax is our day-to-day work, and that's how we see all this as well as all the other stuff we've done. But let's just get really clear on the mistakes that we see. It's not just our clients, clients. The assumptions and the mistakes. R&D tax is cash rebate back for your company, and so many startups appropriately rely on the cash to continue the growth and development of the company. It's part of your cash flow planning. It's a rebate you're going to get back. It's just a couple of absolute ground rules. And these are rules to live by. Your mates that have done it a different way, some other cowboy advisor that has told you it's okay, it's not. All right? There is no, Steve's been a tight ass, he's been too strict. No, what I'm about to tell you is fact of life. Someone tells you otherwise, it's wrong. You have to spend the money. I've lodged an invoice. Someone told me I can just lodge an invoice and we'll figure out paying it later. No, you have to spend the money. It's a rebate on what you actually spent and incurred. Now, the payment of that, there are some small nuances in it, but you can't be going, I'm going to lodge an invoice and it's going to be for the next 6 or 12 months worth of work. And I'll get a claim on that. And then when I get that money, I actually pay for some of that. And I'll pay some other things as well. You can't do that. All right. And I'm seeing a lot more of this. And when times are getting harder, financial struggles come in, people push some boundaries that they should do. You have to have evidence of what you've done. Now, again, a lot of companies will go, cool, let's claim this and we'll figure it out later. No, you have to have evidence. Got some guys over east that are complaining at the moment because the AGO's giving them a hard time because they've asked them for documents and evidence. Well, no, it's just the way the law works. So it's great rebate, it's great money, it's great support, it's an awesome program. The rules are pretty basic. If you think it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Okay, so let's just pause on that. I'm not going to get too much more carried away, but also, if you're a startup and you're now in February and you're out looking for cash and suddenly you've got to make a phone call to your R&D tax advisor because you've left it for 9 months to get the R&D rebate sorted, yeah, that's fine, it happens. But if you're a serious startup, as most of our, most companies are, if you're a serious, you have a chance of success, you do your R&D tax in June, July. You don't wait 9 months and then go, oh shit, now I've got to trace it up. What does that say about you as a business owner? And if someone's going to invest in you, what does that say about them to you? Priority number one is making sure you can pay bills and you've got cash in the bank ready to go. Even if you've got investors' money in the bank, you go, oh cool, I'll figure out my R&D later. No, get more money in the bank now so that you're ready to go. It's a priority. Yes, we're going to help you all out. Come 30 April, you're still going to get help. But take that hat off and just put a regular advisor's hat on. It is a high priority on your list every year, all the time. Managing it, documenting it, tracking it, and claiming it. Enough said there. I'm looking at the time. which leads into this runway. So I'm assuming, and I'm sure we all know about a runway of a startup. And basically, that means how much cash do I have before I'm run off the end of the runway. That means that you have to know how to manage a budget and a cash flow plan. So, what's your budget? Have you done a budget? What is your cash flow budget versus your profit and loss budget? What's the difference between those two things? You're a business owner. You have to know the difference between a profit and loss and a cash flow. Okay, so let's be really clear about that. That there's an issue and a need for you to understand those things. You can get help. It doesn't take long. Give us a call. Charlie will explain to you. You can get that help, but understand those differences. Also, when you're running your budgets, and again, experienced startups will tell you this, and this is just one of those things to watch the first time through it. You need to start preparing for the next round of funds to raise well before the current one runs out. Raising money is very time consuming. And it's very expensive in different ways, or can be expensive. So you can't leave it till the last minute to then go and raise your money. If that's happening as well, you've left it too late. You might have to put other things on hold, or you will have to put other things on hold while you're raising money if you've left it so long. Now, it is basically, most experienced startups will tell you they're always fundraising. It's always part of their cash flow planning. We, as a regular business, are always fundraising. That means different things to us, but it is something we are always doing. So be aware of your cash flow, your runway, the time and costs it takes to put money in the bank, not just spend it. Now, put money in the bank. Wow, that's unusual. Let's think about some clients. Someone to pay you for your service, your product. Will you make money from your startup? Stupid, dumb question. There's a few of you that have theories on your help money out of your startup, but have you done a version of, if I make this product, I will sell it for $10 and I will sell 1,000 of those for this much money, so we'll make that much money. Great. How many of you have done a serious version of that with some assumptions to back it up? So it's not just guesswork there. Yeah, okay, cool. $10, 1,000 customers. Where did $10 come from? Where did 1,000 customers come from? Again, you've probably heard this before, but have you done it? And have you done it from day one? We can't come up with an idea and then go and build it and then try to figure out if we can sell it and how much we can sell it for. Wrong. We come up with the idea. We think about how much we can build it and sell it for at the same time, or before preferably, we actually do any building and development. The reasons and excuses are, I don't know until I built it. No. So from day one, you've got to have an idea if you're going to be able to, how much you potentially can sell this for. There's down in the whole, there's nothing like my product, therefore I go, no. No. How much somebody's going to pay for something is different to no one's done my product. So there's so many of those little startup excuses that you get, no. At day one, and again, it's a lifestyle project. Well, it's not a business. It's not a startup. It's a hobby. I'm doing it for the good of humanity, and I'm going to save the world this way. That's cool. Who's going to fund that? You. So really, we've got to get serious from day one about how much we're going to sell it for, how much, how many we're going to sell, and how's that based. Then, at the same time, how much is it going to cost us to make those things? Guesstimate, and again, you have to be able to guesstimate this based on some facts of assumptions. Go, $10. Okay, cool. I think it's going to cost me $6. $4 sounds like a decent budget premium, but is it? Is it going to cover all of the costs that you had to spend to get to that point? So your profit on that one thing might be $4, and you might be able to sell $1,000. So that's $4,000. But if it cost you $500,000 to be able to make that 40 or whatever numbers are made up, logical? Not logical? This, again, sounds obvious and sounds it sounds something like we should all have done. I would be surprised if we've all done that. The valley of death looks like that big curve for a reason. it comes out higher than the break-even line. What that means for the, if you like, the maths nerds out there, the areas under those curves, that the area under the big curve, as in you get over the line, has to be more than all the money you spent to get up there. If you end up 3 years down the path and you've recovered your costs of R&D and innovation and marketing, well, unfortunately, you haven't made a success of the profit. Now, you had a great time and you've tried really hard, and that's all fine. But if you went down that pathway without having your eyes wide open to where the final dot point is on your journey of a business, then you've missed a significant decision point. And you have to continue to assess that, is that end game still achievable from what I've learned? So we set that target, we set our day point, and we set our budget. Then as we're progressing, we keep reassessing those numbers to say, okay, cool. Am I going to go any deeper on the valley of depth? Am I going to go for longer before I get up? And is the up still the target that I'm hoping to achieve? We need to continue to reassess those. Our assumption set that we have at day 0 is very different to the facts we've learned at day 100. And that resets your assumptions, and you basically continue to go forwards. So, yeah, what did Gav, one of my mates at RSM, is the juice worth the squeeze? So, the effort you put in, is it worth it? Is it, the result you get, is it worth the squeeze? So then we get around, so as you're on that journey, advisors, then we're in WA, and the Cowboys are up and around, and they are pretty strong at the moment, because there's economic challenges around. So Cowboys tend to get a little bit more active, either when there's blood in the water, or potentially it's all upside. At the moment, there's blood in the water, and so we've got to be aware of Cowboys. What is a cowboy? It's the wrong advisor for your situation. Again, someone that's going to promise you the world, have their hand in your pocket before you do, and leave you high and dry. Just obviously watching out for Cowboys. But the simpler mistake is real advice, wrong advisors versus the wrong advisors. So if you're talking to an advisor, it's all like I said at the beginning, you've got to match your state and your requirements versus the skill set and the experiences of the person you're plugging in. It sounds simple. Does the person that's going to help you out, have they done much of that in your industry, in your space, at your size? Or are they a superstar for down the track and put them on the Rolodex for talking to in a little while and just have a chat to them? Is it the right person for the right time and the right fit? Wrong advisor, wrong situation, wrong time, you're going to have to come back and repeat it. So just matching what you need, where you're at on that. Again, Valley of Death, it's a pathway. Where are you on the Valley of Death? At stage, 3. Great, here's an advisor. They've done loads of work around that sort of situation. With that skill, away you go. Making sure that they come together. The budgeting for real, we sort of talked about that. But again, if you've renovated, it costs you way more, it takes way longer. A startup's, a small business is exactly the same. Your budgets, we'll get blown out. The time will take longer for a whole bunch of different reasons. So, we just got to keep coming back to our budgets, revisiting, just like it's a renovation. You're just going to have to suck it up and keep accepting that that's just the way it is. When I hear the version I'm building now is going to be fine, it's going to get me to, stage, infinity, it's not, never going to happen. Never going to happen. Don't care who you are. Don't care if it's software, it's hardware, it's whatever it is. It's not possible. And you're going to probably spend more money than you needed to build the perfect product. So you're either not going to sell it, you're going to run out of money. So many things will go wrong before you get there. So it's just wrong. Unfortunately, the first version is our prototype. Doesn't matter how good you want to build it, and you're different because yours is going to be perfect straight out of the gate and all this sort of stuff. For whatever reason you can possibly poke a stick at, I could give you everyone. And I have a list of people that you go, okay, you're going to be the one that's different. I have not seen one in 25 years that is different to everybody else. So first version is a prototype. If it's software, it's software. It's still a prototype for so many reasons. Let's get our focus right and do the boring things. I've covered that a little bit. As entrepreneurs, we can chase shiny things. It can be one of our Achilles heels. So, you know what I mean by that. Shiny thing, there's a new idea, or I've got a feature creep, or things I want to add. Someone suggested it. Now, what we don't realize often, when we're chasing a shiny thing, we've always got a good reason and a good excuse for that. And that will be, but this customer or this potential customer is actually the bigger and better one than the one I was speaking to a month ago. And for those reasons, actually, we need to change all these functions and capabilities because they're going to suit that customer better. And then that customer in that scenario, and that this is changing the industry. And yeah, some of those are correct. So that's the feedback loop. But what we've got to be really mindful of, taking the lean startup approach, which isn't perfect and completely we should do, but you mixing up lean startup with shiny thing. So that focus on focus and prioritization and decisions. It's often why a multiple founder team actually is a good thing, because you'll be able to bounce off of each other. But no, actually, we don't need that. You've got somebody that can say cool bullshit on a theory, and/or that's where your mentors or advisors come in. So actually, I'm pivoting. The classic, I'm going to pivot. And you go, really shiny thing or real decision, real need. So be very, very mindful of pivoting for fun. Team skills, growth requirements, cash flow, all those sorts of things. As you're growing, and then growing, at every stage of that, who you have in your team is obviously going to change. It's going to cost you more money. It's going to be harder. You're going to need it. As you start onboarding clients, you start having more cash flow challenges. Even though you've got money coming in, it gets harder. Essentially, this isn't something that's you're the only one that's ever gone through it. It's normal. Every growth company, startup or non-startup, actually has cash flow problems. It is the nature of the growth. You employ more staff, you grow your office space, you have to upfront certain costs, and suddenly you've got less money or more clients. So you've got to actually understand that balance, and where and how you're budgeting for that and building it into your growth plans. And that whole, hey, hockey stick, the valley of death, was sort of is misleading to an extent because it looks like a hockey stick. Sometimes the hockey stick will come off. There are scenarios where hockey sticks are reasonable and appropriate, but not everywhere, because of cost of growth, how you grow, and those sorts of things. So watching out for and being aware of the needs for more money, the more successful you get. And that's why it's why you need different investors potentially as you're growing. It's for actually for growth's sake, not for ego. So you're raising money for the business, not because it's good for your ego and you're going to be happy with that. I'm going to pause there for a moment and just throw out to see if anybody wants to bounce any of those things around or has a different question they would like to go out with. So let me just make that go there and there. So while we are on hold for a moment, now I'll just change my screen. Any questions? Give you a moment to ponder. Justin, can you type it in the message chat thing? Hopefully I'm looking at the right thing. No. Okay, well that could be the person send messages. All right, something's happened. Sorry, can you, that's weird, why can't we do that? Oh, actually maybe I can just open the Q&A. Maybe that might make it work better. Q&A, hold on. Yes, there we go. Ask a question. So if you go to the, no, that's not working either. Oh no, hold on. Meeting access trusted restricted. Hide each question until a host approves. Let's turn that off. There we go. How about we try that? Ticks all the boxes. Make that there. Add people. No. Anybody got any success? Oh, no. Sorry. That's weird. Okay, technology fail. It's seems mostly. I assume. Can you turn your microphones off? Oh, something's. I've got a thumbs up. Does that mean it's like it's sad thumbs up? Host controls. Let me try that one. Making access. No, that's no. It's it's working. Maybe. Maybe. All right. Let me go back. Is it Q&A? No. Only okay. I have to go to Q&A again. There he is. Right, I'm in there. Thank you, Justin. So does everybody know how to find Q&A? It's in the 9 squares in the bottom right-hand corner. Somehow you get into there. All right, let me just ask myself a question. Here I am. Right, we've got 5 more minutes. If you want to throw a question in there, I can talk till the cows come home. But did you want to put the question in there? Without me. Whoa, here we go. Do you want to talk about common mistakes in share cap tables? Well, that's a good one. Let's process time. Thanks. So I have to go. Thanks so much. Oh, okay. Yes, the recording will be shared. My cap table mistakes and those sorts of things, and Justin, the cash rebate time frame. Cap table, yeah. You keep it up to date. Again, it's one of those compliance things. You're responsible for updating your cap table. Someone gives you money. Is it a loan? Is it equity? What is it? How is it? You know, what are your ASIC requirements to keep it updated? If you don't keep it updated, we've seen ATO issues blow up because the cap table wasn't updated. And you go, well, how do they connect? Well, they do. You can't get another investor in if you haven't fixed your cap table from the last, investor or whatever. And is your cap table a mess? So might cover a little bit of this off next time. As we are raising funds, then we potentially can cause our cap table to become a big blah. So we want structured advice on how we take money, who we take it from, how we bring them in, and what that looks like. So if you mess your cap table up, you might have too many shareholders, and then you become public unlisted by accident and these sorts of things. So there are great people that can help you with your cap tables. We can hook you up with them if you need them. So it's a very serious part of your business. You own the business, you're a director, you have responsibilities to make sure that's updated. So fantastic question, Mike. Hope that helps. The rebate time frame, tax office works in mysterious ways. Does it take them a week? Does it take them 6 weeks? It's who knows? We could sort of say on average, maybe it's 2 at the moment, but there is sort of no true average. It is case by case, depending on that. So unfortunately, mate, the tax office, basically there's a 4-week window. If they haven't done anything, so after 28 days, you can chase the tax office up. Before 28 days have expired, we can't talk to the tax office. They just will say, go away, wait for 28 days. You're in through a range of services. Thank you, Paul. What do we do? Evolve's an R&D tax agents. So we set up Evolve 4 years ago as an R&D tax advisory firm. So we're R&D tax agents. We're not tax agents. We're not accountants. We're not engineers. We're just R&D tax people. Alongside of that, we do obviously help our clients with innovation R&D management, particularly because it's a critical part of R&D tax. So innovation R&D management, those sorts of things, and grants in certain circumstances. That's our corner of the world. Thank you for asking, Paul. In terms of R&D tax, what are the biggest mistakes you've seen? Is there a trend? R&D tax, I came back, so I took 12, 18 months off of R&D tax on my journey. The reason I came back to R&D tax was also because it is the most important financial tool in a startup's toolkit. Without, again, like I said, I stopped doing it for 18 months. I tried not to do it for 18 months, and it came back. I love it as well, so I couldn't get out of my system. But it is the most important tool in your kit bag as a startup. No questions. Like I said, I stopped doing it, and I was like, actually, I've got to do it again. The most common mistakes are making assumptions that you know what R&D tax claims look like. That's it's like, oh yeah, cool, I'll be able to fix this up later. No. So the common mistakes are, I'll figure it out later, or I'll get it sorted later. Proactively managing your documentation is the best advice we can give anybody. So when you are doing a piece of work, internally, externally, whatever that is, making sure you're documenting it. Evidence of R&D is critical. And there's no excuse. You go, I'm a startup, I just do things agile. Doesn't mean you can't document. It just means you use an agile process. And therefore, how we document it and what we do is what's going to make your R&D tax claim stand up or not, and whether you need to use us or you can do it yourself. So documentation proactively. How many years can we apply for R&D tax? This is great, because as long as we are innovating. R&D tax is open for the life of R&D, as in there is no cap. EMDG and there's some of those programs have a limit to when and how many you can claim R&D tax is completely open for however long and however many years that you do R&D for. There are nuances in, is it still R&D, obviously? So when does R&D stop? As you guys know, more than the regulators, R&D often never stops. It just changes what you're doing R&D on. So yeah, it is a open program for as long as you need it. And the legislation's been in place since 1980 something or other, a version. So obviously it's a different version now, but it has been in place for different years. So it's hopefully the government will always poke and play with it, depending on how much they want to mess with Australia's very poorly performing innovation ecosystem. And there's a strategic national R&D review going on at the moment. A whole bunch of numpties that are providing commentary about stuff they've actually got very limited experience on, and are listening to, if you like, Treasury bag out, R&D tax funding rather than actually support it. That's a soapbox. That's another day. Any final questions? Let me just pop down there. I'm expecting to make changes. Next page here affects this. Maybe. So what I mean by maybe is the SA strategic R&D review that's going on at the moment. They put some really, well, we've been through this. Like I've been doing this, like I said, 26 years now, 27, and every 5-8 years there's a reassessment of the legislation. Should we change it? How should we tighten it? Should we loosen it? We're in one of those positions. So things could be shifting around, moving the ball in the bucket. The Labor Party is pretty rubbish, and so they've literally just trying to cut out gambling and tobacco, like just trying to go, oh, those are bad, so we shouldn't have R&D on those. And, maybe they are bad, but maybe we shouldn't be actually allowing R&D on them for a whole bunch of actual good reasons. So does the Labor Party sort of decide that they want to do more crazy, things to the program to make it harder to manage? Yeah, possible. Unfortunately, that's just the way the governments are these days. They're all pretty painful. I can choose my words, but actually I don't care. And that's state, federal. They're all, they're all on their hobby horses, thinking that they're helping when they actually often make it harder than easier. So yeah, that helps a lot. We are applying responses to the government in different ways. I'm president of the National R&D Tax Agents Association, so we make submissions on behalf of the R&D tax agents. We, as for FOLB or WA Innovation Calendar, also make submissions in different ways when we're allowed. So we'll keep fighting if we can. There's not much we can do about the state government because they look after themselves. They don't do much for innovation anyway, regardless of what you hear and see. All right, are we cool? Hope that helped. Yeah, we will be sharing as much as we can, or not as much as we can, all of that. Can't wait for the next one. The next one is a true rock star. So Mike will be here blowing your mind, dropping the value bombs. And we hope you can join that one, share with your friends. So that, again, we're just trying to make sure that, you know, the WA startups, you guys are, you know, in a happy place and getting more successful. So take care, you all. Have a great weekend. Rock it on, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye.